Didn't they do that in a lot of
We got a minute.
around here?
Yeah. Hey, but that's,
Thank you,
do
Kevin.
you have
It
an
is 6
Apple
o'clock.
Watch?
It is
that
now
an
6
Apple?
p.m.
Official
and the
time.
January 14th meeting of the CDA will please come to order. Would you take roll call, please, Patrick?
Text?
Wayne Clark.
Yes.
Karen Gale.
Yes.
Don Niemer.
Here.
Alderman Shaplowski.
Here.
Alderman Haas.
Here.
Jerry Matter.
Present.
Chris Sogstead.
Here.
First item, everyone did meet our new member tonight, Chris? Okay, thank you. Second item, have a motion to accept the meeting minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes stands approved. First item is the public hearing.
Before you start that, this up
Okay.
here, something to note. The mayor and staff went out to visit Milwaukee Plate Glass as one of our initiatives to go out and meet businesses. And when we were out there, you see the stack of glass or windows off to the right. And it said from the market at 6 Points, the new apartments building being built in the 6 Points. And something what we always don't look at is the increment is gained from the TIF district, right, on the new development. But the economic footprint of that is actually much bigger in the sense that here a local business, a family-owned business is benefiting from the investment in the TIF at their business. It's a business going through generation where you see the owner there is passing the business on to his sons eventually. And it's a West Allis business, and they're receiving the economic benefit of the city's investment in a TIF. So I just thought I'd share that. Kind of
Also want to mention
and that was a TIF.
that company was a TIF about 25 years ago on a vacant site that we brought them into West Allis over on about 115th and Greenfield. So it's a lot of TIF, a lot of CDA involvement in this project. Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well, now we can go ahead with the public hearing. I, Gerald Motter, Chairman of the Community Development City, the notice of hearing will be read. Public hearing to be considered for the sale of public lands for the property located at 6610 West Greenfield Avenue. Tax key number 439-0001-032. Excuse me, the Executive Director of the Community Development Authority has filed with the authority the notice of hearing. The affidavits of publication will be filed as soon as received from the official newspaper as required by section 66.1333 of the Wisconsin statutes. The document will be made part of the records of the proceedings of this matter. Excuse me. The purpose is hearing to afford a full opportunity for all interested parties to express their views on the proposed consideration of sale of public lands for the property located at 6610 West Greenfield Avenue, tax key number 439-0001-032. The following, the closing of this hearing, the authority will consider on a vote a resolution authorizing the sale of the land for the property located at 6610 Greenfield Avenue, tax key number 439-0001-32. If adopted, the resolution will be submitted to the Common Council of the City of West Allis for approval as provided in section 66.1333 of the Wisconsin State Statutes. Mr. Stiebel, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for the benefit of our new member, whenever the CDA acquires property or sells property, they have to hold a public hearing. And then that sale is also approved, hopefully approved by the Common Council at a later date. But that's why we hold the public hearing. And with that, I'll call on Patrick to conduct the public hearing.
Thank you, John. Members of the authority, you might recall we bought the property at 6610 West Greenfield Avenue. I think almost 2 years ago, an idea to attract a quality development that would complement the new Aurora Clinic and the new Mandel Apartments. There was a use that was looking to buy the property that was a Jiffy Lube type of business, auto lube type of business that wanted to raise the building and then put up an auto lube center. And the CDA took it upon itself to buy this property in order to attract a great use. And tonight we're going to outline what that project is. This is a 0.7 acre site. The building itself is 2 stories, around 4,000 square feet on each floor. And the purchase price for the property would be $625,000, pretty much equivalent to what we paid to buy the site. An overview, as I mentioned before, our goal here is to get a full-service restaurant with indoor-outdoor dining. The property is zoned commercial, 20 to 25 new employees. At this site, it'd probably be even more than that in time. There'd be around 224 seats for eating and dining, including 88 outdoor seats here with the volleyball courts and other outdoor amenities that would complement the restaurant. The whole idea here is to be restaurant as well as entertainment focus, using an industrial type of design on the inside to complement the Summit Place and Allis Chalmers type of history in this area. The outline of the restaurant is to renovate the existing building, add some new elevator and other services to get to the second floor, volleyball courts, fire pit, potential bags, and picnic tables for people to utilize this, have leagues. So not only food, but also entertainment based. Locked up on me. And again, this is located right next to the south end of the main erecting floor to the Allis Chalmers site. You might recall Blast Cleaning Technologies leased 127,000 square feet here and have been seeing great job growth at their facility, and they just celebrated a year in that location. So this is, again, a nice investment to complement the other development in the area. Here's some architectural elevations of the outdoor dining that went through Plan Commission. The restaurant itself, it will be geared toward the Reunion. Chris and Abby Paul, the current proprietors of Capri Restaurant at 84th and Beloit, are looking to start up the Reunion Restaurant. It's focused on bringing people together, not only on food. This will not have the Italian focus of Capri, but more of Americanized burgers and appetizers type of restaurant. Sean's going through the slides here, showing everything. The development agreement itself is, again, sale price is $625,000. There are a couple features in here to help underwrite some of the conditions of the property. One, the roof is in seriously bad shape, and the property has a significant leak in the roof, as well as the heating system is quite antiquated. In fact, we've spent a warm couple days back in November trying to get the heat in the property working. So as part of the investment in the property, the private investment, which would be close to, I believe, $1.6 million for the new kitchen and all the renovation, the city will provide a $50,000 forgivable loan, a $55,000 facade grant, and a $78,000 code compliance, and this is really to help underwrite the costs of the roof. The use restriction that we do have in the development agreement is, of course, we bought the property because we didn't want it to be an automotive repair or lube type center, so that if the restaurant doesn't succeed, our goal is not to have an auto lube center move into that location. And so we have a CDA buyback option within the development agreement. I believe we sent a copy of the draft development agreement out to everyone for their review. I'd gladly answer any questions you may have about the sale of the land.
Mr. Clark.
Patrick, the $78,000 forgivable loan, what is that for?
It's to help underwrite the cost of he's gonna have to put a new roof and heating system in the property. It's either we reduce the sale price or we provide the grant. In this case, he's providing the full sale price, but we're providing the grant to help underwrite those costs for the condition of the property.
$78,000 comes from?
The sale proceeds of the property. Fire, our CDE that the city has, will be providing the loans for the development.
Thank you.
When this is sold, the fire gave CDA the $625,000 to buy the property. Then you'll give it back to fire. And from that proceeds, fire can make the loans. Instead of cutting the cost of the sale price, it works out better to have it in the capital stack, the different pricing options. It was effectively a
Equity, it's like an equity investment.
$525,000 sale. Or something like that.
Done.
What's our buyback provision?
It'd be 625,000,
And how long is that good for?
10 years.
Thank you.
No more questions on the board? All right, then we'll consider. If any interested parties in attendance may now express their views on proposed consideration for the sale of public land located at 6610 West Greenfield Avenue, tax key number 439001-032. Please raise your hand, be recognized. Upon being recognized, state your name, your address, and your interest in the proposal. Then you may proceed with your statement. If you appear on behalf of an interested party, please state the name of the party you represent. Does anyone wish to be interested this time?
Chris Paul is in the back, if you'd like to just
Yeah,
recognize
I
him.
know. I'll ask him. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. You want to be recognized for any reason? Just so everybody knows who he is here. So.
Well, it says Capri on his jacket.
Yeah, I know.
I made a little assumption.
Right, I see that. Any other interested parties? If not, there being no interested parties to address this authority, I now declare this hearing closed. And we'll proceed to the next order of business. We'll go to item number 2.
If we just did two, we
number
can
three.
do 2 and 3 together.
All right.
One's the sale of the land, the other was the development agreement that followed.
All right, we're going to do number 3 and number 4 together. Resolution recommending the sale of public lands for the property located at 6610 West Greenfield Avenue, tax key number 4390001-032 for the Reunion Restaurant or entity to be named for proposed restaurant. Item number 4, resolution approving development agreement by and between the Community Development Authority of the City of West Allis and Reunion Restaurant or entity to be named for proposed restaurant to be located at 6610 West Greenfield Avenue. Mr. Steele, you have the floor.
Patrick, I think you enumerated the issues. Any additional questions?
I move approval of both resolutions.
Second.
Been moved for approval and second of both resolutions. Any further discussion? If not, would you take roll call, please, Patrick? Oh, wait. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. We go to item number 5. You're on your way.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yep, great. Thank you. Thank you for investing.
Item number 5, resolution to consider entering into a consulting service contract with ACOM in the amount not to exceed $10,000 to assist in the MMSD Green Interfractional Structure Grant application for creating of the parking lot adjacent to 6771 West National Avenue, property located within Task Increment District number 1468th and Mitchell. Mr. Steele.
Sean, would you?
Yep, thank you, John. As you're likely aware, TIF District 14 encompasses the properties south of National along 68th Street, running east to the spur track. Within that TIF district, we have the proposed historic rehabilitation of the 6671 West National Avenue property. It's parcel number 3 on the map that you see. That's the property that Baum Revision has we have an agreed upon letter of intent with for them to create, to get historic tax credits and rehabilitate the building and create event space, food production space, and just generally create a destination out of a historic building. As part of that, there's obviously going to be a need for parking. One of their main focuses is the event space, about a 10,000 square foot event space, where they'll have corporate outings, weddings, things of that nature, special events, all kinds of different mix of things. So they're going to need parking for those things. as part of that, we've always planned on this parcel sort of making sense for the parking lot area. We also, the CDA also owns these two parcels to the north, and we don't have a planned development for that site as of yet. This parking lot that could potentially be created on generally, parcel 4 that you see here, about a 1.5 acre area within this, could get up to, it looks like about 188 parking stalls. That would be sufficient to, to assist with the BOM revisions plans, and could also be shared by whatever development is done to the north. From a timing perspective, it looks like BOM is moving along here and is putting together their architectural plans, and will likely begin construction sometime this summer, which likely opens it up in, later this year, early next year. In order for us to time the construction of the parking lot on parcel 4, we need to get the ball rolling on that. And so that's what this contract is for with AECom, was to just sort of get the ball rolling on designing this parking lot. And we're looking at potential options and, applying for an MMSD grant to sort of retain the water on site, do porous pavers, things of that nature to assist with that. So this is sort of just the initial design of the parking lot. It's going to cost a lot more for the final design, but we're hoping to get you're okay to get the ball rolling on that. This is just another sort of view. Again, this is the BOM revision building that we're talking about, and then this is sort of the parcel to the north of the proposed parking lot that we don't currently have an approved plan for. This was Mandel's proposal to the north, but it has not been chosen. Just a closer up view of what the potential parking lot could look like off of Mitchell Street. We would hope that it likely would be owned by the CDA, and that the two properties would be in charge of maintaining the parking lot. That wouldn't necessarily be a city maintained parking lot.
The nice,
Chairman, I'd move approval.
Second.
Been moved for approval, and second.
Mr. Chairman, I just
Okay.
want to mention that it's probably going to be about $85,000 for the engineering design work. We'll come back next month when we get a better handle on it. We wanted to get them working now. That's why we're just getting this first amount out. The parking lot itself could probably cost $700,000 to $900,000. But the parking lot that we're going to build here is needed to support the event center. But it could be help whoever goes in the other development to the north, whether it's Mandel or somebody else. We're not saying it's Mandel. We're not saying what it is. We're just saying that parking lot is just needed.
Does that help relieve some of the stress for the farmer's market as well? Because it's not that far a walk, is it?
If we're going to be talking about that later, aren't we?
Yes, we have, one, if you look at
Yeah,
that
yeah, I
picture
mean,
there, the
yeah, sure.
developer did suggest that maybe there could be a cut through for pedestrians, so that not only could that be overflow for the farmer's market, but also the parking you see to the east
Yep.
could also be overflow for this development.
This is going to be a public parking lot here.
Oh, okay, so we are planning, so, yeah,
this
yeah,
is
so it's good. We need that.
25, 150
Okay, all right.
parking stalls there, and then another 188 here. So
We need
we
it.
are talking about a walkway, or else people will just walk over, whatever.
Is there going to be an entrance off of National to that parking lot?
Yeah, it goes right along the building.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's why I was
you go down
wondering.
the alley,
Alley,
Yeah,
okay,
but that's what I was
so,
or
wondering.
between
So
the
yes.
buildings.
Just a question.
Yes, you could access it from either National or
Or
Mitchell.
Mitchell, okay. Alderman Grill.
It is very similar to the library parking lot, right?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Don?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to be recorded as abstaining from this vote.
Okay, thank you. No further discussion?
One point on the MMSD grant is we want this to be an ecologically solid parking lot, and that's why we're going this route to try to get MMSD money. It's not going to necessarily save us money, but we'll get a better ecologically
Environment for the.
environment for it. And there's also, the city has some additional money that they haven't been able to expend from other grants on stormwater retention. So I don't want to say it could be cheaper, but there's still that potential. But we want to go into this thinking that we want to build a parking lot that's aesthetically pleasing and could be consistent with the mission of the authority.
And that, yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. And that brings another question for me then is, with this porous concrete, does that mean that we don't have to have a retention pond, or is that to be determined in this whole operation?
Part of it, yes. In that one corner, up in this area here, that used to be part of the old National Salvage Yard. And so the ground there is fairly well contaminated. And we're not sure if it can be dug, if it can be dug up and then it has to be hauled away as hazardous waste. But that area needs some stormwater retention because it's non-porous today, and we're going to build over it. So we're going to need more stormwater retention here. That pond or that bricks might be able to provide some of that. We may put some of that in the landscaping areas, but we're going to have to retain more water.
Thank you.
So we'll be complying with MMSD and DNR regulations.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
And there's one abstention.
Yes,
One abstention.
correct.
Oh, yeah, you marked
I'm
that
just
down.
marking that we
right,
noted
yeah,
that.
yeah. Because he was involved with it. Then we go to number 6. Item 6, resolution considered professional service contract with Zimmerman Design Group for design work at various redevelopment sites in the amount of $10,000. Mr. Stevel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The biggest issue had before us is the motor casting plant site. It's currently vacant. They just had a sale of all the machinery that was inside the building, and we were out there inspecting some other areas in that building, and we were talking to some of the drivers of the trucks that were holding up with the equipment. They said they were heading to Mexico to take some of those older equipment. So now it's vacant. And the issue is going to be what's going to become of this. Obviously, we would not want to see it to be cold storage or some low-end user. We'd like to get some higher-end user. The estimated cost for demolition is about $800,000, so it's not cheap. We're going to be taking a look at how we can help promote the revitalization of this site in a combination of maybe retaining some of the buildings that could be saved, like the office building and something near that, and the rest of it being demolished and maybe putting multifamily in. Every developer, not every, but most developers come to the city and say, what do you want to see here? Or what do you think should go there? So we want to start getting ahead of that and start looking at some options as to what could go there. And so we're going to come with some options of some partial reuse and some multifamily probably. One of the big issues we were concerned about, the site's fairly narrow. Could it support a multifamily footprint or a commercial office footprint? And we're comfortable that it could. And we're going to be showing some plans, just some concepts of how it could. Hopefully to get people to start thinking at a bigger and more robust redevelopment of this site. And so that's what we need the money for, is to start this site and other sites in the city that we want to pump up the development for. What's sort of a marketing piece is what we're doing.
So
Aye.
moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 7.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Clark.
Since we're talking motor castings, I'm curious, John, what's the status of Gas Tech?
It's being sold.
Yeah, we met, a banker brought up a name last week to us.
Yeah.
What's Gas Tech? Where's Gas Tech?
On
Just up
National
the
Avenue.
street on National Avenue next to Farmers Market.
Oh,
63rd and 64.
Yeah, okay then, thank you.
But that's owned by Motor
10,000 square foot white
That's
building.
still owned by the company that bought motor castings.
Yes.
A number of auto repair facilities actually inquired about that, and fortunately, when the authority in their great wisdom adopted a redevelopment plan for that neighborhood,
Ooh.
they expressly prohibited auto repair facilities.
Oh, go figure.
So we were able to get, hopefully we'll get a better use out of that. But so, it's in the marketplace, it's a great building. We've had a number of people look at it, and we're just trying to get somebody to pull the trigger.
Is all the equipment on it? Is the building empty?
I think it's empty.
All right. We'll go to item number 7, resolution to consider professional service contract with Zimmerman Design Group for siding removal for the property located at 6771 West National Avenue in the amount of $26,500. Mr. Stevel.
Sean?
Thank you, John. This is a contract that Zimmerman Design Group actually subbed out to a contractor in the amount that you see on the screen, $26,500. It was the second round of sort of siding removal that was required by the National Park Service for the building. You can kind of see, obviously what the building looks like now that that is all done. The National Park Service has since signed off now on the Part 1 historic designation, and so BOM is moving into the Part 2. We will get fully reimbursed by BOM revision at closing for the $41,500 in siding removal. So just one of those necessary things that we didn't necessarily want to have to do, but we had to do in a hurry to just keep the project moving. So.
Are they going to keep Kearney and Trecker on the top?
We are talking about that.
kinda cool.
It's something that we're open for debate on, whether they're gonna call it the Kearney Trucker Building, they're gonna call it something else. It's really kind of cool.
It's there, yeah.
Anybody have any comments? If you wanna offer a comment, we'd love to hear them. And
Yes, keep it. It's historic, yeah.
It's an industrial building, it is
really-
what it
It wasn't
is.
originally the Kearney and Checker building though, was it?
no, it wasn't. It was actually the
But that's what it says, so.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying.
the ghost is still up there of Kearney Trucker, but the
Well,
National
not more
Register
than a
application
ghost.
had
I mean, I don't care, I'm just saying it.
Hauser or some strange name like that was the original. I think they had it for like 15, 20 years, then Kearney Trucker bought it.
I did receive a call, somebody in the Trucker family was suggesting they wanted something with that name, and that name also played a role into the layout of the homes in Greendale. I guess he was a big advocate for the development of that layout of that community, so just kind of.
Well, then Greendale needs to pay us.
Yeah,
Well, maybe he'd like to give us a donation to
Yeah.
keep that in
Greendale,
there.
well, Greendale can pay us.
Mickey?
Sure. Yeah, whatever the owner that's gonna buy the building, spend the money on the building, they can determine what they wanna call it.
I know, but I'm not
Anybody got
opposed to leaving, I'm not opposed to leaving it
You can
there.
recommend it to them, but if they already got a name plan for it,
Right.
so be
I
it.
know. It was just possible talk. So we,
Do we have a motion?
yeah, can we have a motion for a resolution?
I move approval.
Second?
Second.
Been moved for approval and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Then we go to item 8, the discussion regarding the utilization of home funds and potential projection of various sites. Mr. Stevel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The city, through a cooperation agreement with Milwaukee County and Wauwatosa, we're becoming an entitlement community for home funds. Home funds are federal funds to provide affordable housing in the communities. We could use it for a variety of things, and Patrick will be talking about that in a minute. We don't need any decisions tonight, but we want to bring it to your attention that we're looking at some different options. We're going to explore those options, and you can talk about those options, and then hopefully next month or the month after, we'll come back with some more concrete plans based on what you advise us and your observations are tonight. So historically, we've been building single-family homes and then selling them for affordable prices, and we take a big price cut in that, but that's why we get the home funds to do that, and then we take the resale value and re-roll it back in, and I don't want to say we make money, but we recycle that money, some of it, and we get new money, and so I'll let Patrick take over from there.
so just for everybody's knowledge, home funds are federal grant funds that we receive to create and to renovate affordable housing. So usually what I mean by affordable housing are individuals who are 80% or less of the county median income. So that's around a single individual who's around, I believe, $41,000 or $42,000 household. So if you make 41 or 42,000 or less, that's considered 80% less of the county median income.
For a family of,
I don't know the family of four off the top of my head, but a single individual I remember. So what we've been doing is investing in buying some of the worst properties in our city and building some new single-family homes. John mentioned around 277,000. We recently met with Habitat for Humanity and discussed their situation and how they typically what it costs a Habitat house to be built. And in Milwaukee, they get a free lot, and it's around a great number of free hours in terms of people building the house. So it's around $120,000 to build a Habitat house that they sell for around $95,000. So they as well take somewhat of a financial haircut on the sale too. But they're selling homes in some of the worst neighborhoods. Ours have been selling around 140,000, maybe 145,000 in terms of a sale. Another developer that does a tax credit project, scattered sites, that they spend around $250 on a single family house. So in terms of comparison, I'm just kind of showing you the different economics. When we build our single family houses,
we spend about that same amount.
yeah, we get one bidder, which might be because of all the federal rules. We're looking into that.
One of the reasons that we stopped doing that was because of we could only get one bidder, and we're just going, how could you not get more than one bidder? And so I have our housing staff evaluating and talking with them, what do we need to change so we get more bidders? I mean, that was, I don't want to say it's ridiculous, but I know it's hard to build single-family homes on small lots, but yeah, we got to get more than one bidder. And so we said, let's just take a pause and expand, look at all the options that we have, and then maybe continue that or go on a different approach.
So we also do home loans, if possible, to help people buy a house or renovate a house, but that's demand based. We've been using more of our block grant money prior to using home, but that is another way we use the home funds. So each year we receive around 300,000 and so of entitlement funds. So right now we have around 660,000 of accumulated entitlement funds, and then because we sell the homes and we make money back, we have some program income. So in total, we have around $1.2 million to invest somewhere in the community, whether it's grants or rehab or with a developer. That's what we're going to talk about next. So what can be done with the $1.2 million? We set up a few years ago a grant program around State Fair for people who are at 50% or less of the county median income. We probably received 2 or 3. We probably did 2 grants, 3 applications for that. We didn't get much of that. If we look at a different neighborhood, whether it's Burnham Point or maybe more of our northeast section of the city, we might be able to get more participation of a grant program just because of the demographics of those neighborhoods. We could build additional single-family homes. There's always that opportunity. If we find some lots to build on, we could build, or homes that need renovation, we could do that. We can invest in a market rate development where no more than 11 of the units can be created as affordable using home funds. Otherwise, we trigger prevailing wage over the whole development. But new development is an opportunity, whether it's market rate, senior, or some sort of workforce veterans housing, which we kind of kicked around for a little bit as a gateway project into our city. Those are all alternatives.
For example, we did for the Bullet Road Senior Housing Project that the city owns, we put about $1 million of home money into that. Even though we leased out all affordable housing, but we put money into that multifamily property. We could put money into like a Mandel project and make 11 units affordable. There's lots of different ways that it could be done.
Tenant-based rent assistance is another, it's like Section 8 that we do with our housing where we help with people with rent. We can do that for 24 months using home funds. So those are a number of things that how these creative home funds could be used. So we were also looking at 92nd and National, and the floral shop was here, that's been raised, and talking about what we could do maybe on this whole block if it was assembled. This is just all hypothetical and conceptual. Could some housing development be put here? There's properties that have been on the market for sale.
We tore that one down. Go back one.
Yeah, we tore. This one, this is 9235 West
There
National.
were big holes in the roof
Yeah.
on the other side.
That one was raised, and there's been this code issues with this particular property, so, there's a way that this probably block could be assembled for some sort of quality housing, something that we're maybe looking at as townhomes. And some sort of affordable townhome could be constructed, as a concept. We're looking at all those, and 1.2 million is a significant amount of money that we could do an RFP for a developer to, pick out a site and say, what would you build here, and see what we could get as a response, just showing that we have money available. With these funds, we could attract some investment in our city. But the unique thing with home funds is, once you committed to a project, you have 18 months. You have to deliver the units and be affordable on that 18th month. So that you're on the clock once you commit the funds. So it's kind of the last money in. And you can't really commit it until later. So that's just one of the federal stipulations we have to deal with, so. But that's the home program. Gladly answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, and Patrick, you're saying what I want to hear, and what you didn't say is also the part that I wouldn't want to see, and that is that we'd be investing in a large apartment development at below market or lower rate apartments that we certainly have enough of in our community. We're doing our share in the metro area of providing low-income housing in that respect. What you've presented to us all sounds good to me.
Yeah, I would like concepts that incentivize owner-occupied housing. That's a priority for me.
I would agree with both of those
Go
sentiments.
ahead, Chris. Yes, Mickey?
Yeah, what we've been doing with these houses, it's been working, right? We sell them all right away. We don't really have a problem with it. But we're sticking a lot of money into one house. So, I don't know.
Wayne, did you have anything? No, okay. Any other input? If not, we'll go on to item E. Consideration relative to the report on redevelopment initiatives. Mr. Shino?
Shaw, did you have the,
Oh, yeah, just one more quick update on 6701 West National Avenue. We're working with Baum Development on the development agreement, sort of back in their court right now. Those negotiations are taking place. They're in the process of recruiting potential tenants. We've opened up the building for them several times, and they've had some really interesting potential tenants out there. And then obviously we had discussed earlier, sort of working on that parking lot aspect of the project. So. And then UHS plan to close in late January on the 68th and Mitchell Street, the Behavioral Health Hospital.
with our land sale at our new markets, and then they'll start construction in March.
On the Mandel Apartments, we did meet with Mandel earlier this week, yesterday. These are really nice quality units that came online starting in last November. I believe it was 27 units that came online. And we're starting to get some,
That's me.
yes, I purposely put that there. So to date,
Get more automated photos.
so on November 1st, they delivered 21 units. That means they can be available for rent. So the builder said, okay, Mandel, you have 27 units, you can start leasing. So on November 1st, those were released, and February 1st, they have 66 more units coming online. So you can see the schedule here of the units coming online that will be available to be rented. To date, they have 67 leases, so that means they're leasing ahead of schedule.
Wow.
Before the units even come online, they have leases for those units, and they're ahead of their schedule, and they're happy with that. And actually, January, February are winter, not a big moving month, so to have people moving in is great. One of the things that have been pointed out is, with all our branding and marketing that we've been doing, there's a strong value proposition. We're getting people from not only western downtown suburbs, but downtown Milwaukee, but 21% of the people are from out of state. that have moved into the complex. So they're moving here because of a number of the Milwaukee large employers are hiring, whether it's Johnson Controls, medical, in our situation, and having new units come online with the growth in these industries, it seems to be working for Mandel at this point. So this is the early report on the leasing there.
What do they lease for roughly? I know you told us some time ago, but I just,
It's like between 1,200 to around 1,500.
okay, thank you.
If not higher, up to almost 2,000 on some. There are some 3-bedroom units that are family. We did meet with Mandel on Monday, as I pointed out, and we discussed the Sona parcels as well.
South of National
South of
Avenue.
National
We're very
Avenue.
creative in our terminology.
Yes. So this is coming together. It's going to take a little time yet in terms of, there's great interest in the upper right-hand corner on the site, which is closest to our farmer's market. So there is a user for that building and 2 users potentially for the building south of that. And if those kind of come together, they might build the building to the south of that on spec. The parking lot you see in the middle in the general field, we want to have some public aspect to that for parking with the farmer's market. So there might be some, this is a TIF. The developer's going to request TIF. But if we can use the TIF to do the infrastructure on the site, whether it's the roads in and the parking or assistance with the stormwater located to the south, that might be the way to use the TIF in this particular area. They're still showing an apartment building on this phase with end caps that would be commercial, tying in not only this site and then also towards Balm. But the whole idea is here to come up with a campus of both commercial and residential. We are having weekly meetings. We had our kickoff one yesterday, and then next week they'll be back in to go more over the economics. So things are starting to move along.
We've got some good prospects here, all food related. That's kind of our shtick, is trying to get a food, kind of a food concept, food cluster. And so we're encouraged that it appears to be moving forward.
They are also, this is not very substance yet, but they're maybe looking at another office user maybe here as well. So we'll see how that may play into the economics of the whole
In lieu of
site.
the apartments.
Right.
Jerry?
Jerry?
You can go ahead. And it's, I was just looking at.
Okay, so Mandel's the only one that's got a project here? No one else is proposing anything for this? We haven't put it out for anybody else?
No, we have not.
Because, my view on this, with the other Mandel project, we gave them a lot. We gave them a lot of money, and they came back and asked for more, and we gave them more. Well, now this property is more valuable now, kind of because of them.
Because of them.
But because of the hospital going in, where you have over 200 employees, 200 customers, you want to look at it, and the Baum property, I don't intend on giving a lot of money to them for this project. So, they need to know that up front, and we need to know that if they're going to drop out of the project, if we don't give them a lot of money, and see who else we can get there. Because I don't think there's no reason why we have to give the same amount of money as we did for the other properties.
We have told them we're not going to give them that kind of money again. We don't have that money to give.
Did they listen?
We'll find out. And on the primary tenant up here, I was at a meeting in in Mandel's offices with the chairman of the board and the president of the company, and they're all excited about moving into this property. And now he's got 2 other tenants. He's still working the deal, but now we just said, hey, you got to have the total cost. Let's get the total cost here so we know how much do you really need to make this thing happen. Let's not just keep moving down in piecemeal. Let's get a global look at this whole project so we can figure out what's going to be the total cost so we can start pulling triggers on these properties. And that's what they need. And that will be hopefully our next meeting where they'll bring in the global cost.
Okay.
Any further discussion? I have one thing I want to bring, go ahead, Mr. Clark.
116th and Morgan, status?
Oh, we have more to show.
Oh, all right, that's,
We don't have anything on that one, but you can.
We'll just answer you. We've done nothing since our last report.
And the last report was that testing was underway.
Yes, in fact, it's still underway. And the first round came back a lot better than everybody had, was thinking it would have. It was supposed to be a nightmare property, but it turned out to be quite good. So we're continuing to do the investigations. We still got to fully characterize the waste and the extent, horizontal and vertical and
dump.
all that stuff. So that's still ongoing.
Mr. Chairman, is.
Mickey, go ahead.
No. Oh, go ahead.
No, okay, go ahead, Mr. Clark.
Since this is a city yard issue, the bigger issue that I'd like to at least get a sense of, we've heard how deplorable the city yards are. Big ticket item. What's going on?
That's something that's being explored. And that's all we can say at this time.
That's not on our, thing, agenda.
Well, next to the city, it would be City Yards, which is 116th and West Morgan. So I think it's open for discussion.
Everything is is in play. Let me just put it that way. Everything is in play.
Alderman Shabesky.
What kind of timetable do we have on this, John? Because what he just brought up, there's a lot of things in the works here, and a lot of it is gonna be depending on what happens at 116th and Morgan. So,
And I think the next few months will help us resolve, as we get through once we get the full characterization of the environmental, we'll really know what we've got. We are extremely
from 5 to 20,
optimistic
can
at
we
this
narrow it
point.
down a little bit?
Pardon?
If he was considered 5 to 20, can we narrow it down, 6 months?
I think 2 or 3 months we'll probably have a really good,
Okay.
a really good sense of what we really have. Now, it still may take a little bit more time to do some other smaller characterizations, but I think in the overall, and the gestalt view of this whole property, we'll have a good handle on the next 2 or 3 months.
Mr.
Go
Chairman.
ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, item C here on other considerations. South 70th Street, they started tearing down the east office building as part of the Cobalt Partners $80 million redevelopment. And this is kind of leading into phase 2, but they're getting doing the demo to start the work, the construction for the hotel, and then they'll go into the office development.
We changed, as you recall, we changed the design of the development, so the hotel, the extended stay hotel is going to be on the south end, so as soon as they complete the south end, then they'll build this north end. And then they'll start on building those office buildings. And we'll get more into it next month, at the end of this month, on January 23rd at 3 o'clock, they're going to have an unveiling of their new marketing project. They have a big real brokers.
Yeah, we got that invite.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to have there to further characterize what's going on there. And people are calling to find out if we're putting in
CRBE.
new windows or we demolishing the building. Because
Yeah, I
you
see
see the
all the
guys
windows,
with asbestos
taking all the windows
running
out,
around,
yeah.
taking out the windows in their white suits, and so there's a lot of asbestos in that
Well,
property.
it's the caulking along the windows there, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And then item E, Highway 100 corridor. We've discussed this before, the old Pick and Save site on 111th and Greenfield Avenue. That's an 85,000 square foot building. It's around 8-acre site that's sitting currently vacant. And you might recall we were trying to attract a college to the property. I only bring this to your attention because it's come up into my mailbox a few times, and came up the other day in the Business Journal that 3 suburban Pick and Save sold, and not including ours in West Allis. That one did not sell. The one in New Berlin was going to become a gym. One out in Delafield, I think, storage, and another suburban one was becoming a St. Vincent de Paul, a nonprofit. So we had some internal discussion here talking about what do we do to address the potential of thrift stores and things like that. And I know we're going to be discussing it as staff, but I wanted to just share that with you that, there is some 3 of them just sold. There's activity out there in the market. We have not heard anything from the property owner since our discussions, but that did not come to fruition. But if there's this activity in the market, there will be people inquiring. So, and there's 3 comps right there. So, and as well as the Highway 100 corridor study, we are near the final report. I think in 2 to 3 weeks we should have it. We sent back a number of revisions. I'm kind of giving a prelude to the actual study. There are 5 recommendations to diversify the mix of uses, more food, entertainment type of uses, That's what that means. Focus on increasing mobility, adding not more traffic lanes, but more multi-use lane along the area, as well as connections within parking lots, walkable destinations, distinct brand identity, and then promoting desired development patterns. They're suggesting we need to update our zoning code and land use plan along the corridor, as well as if you want to attract certain development, make sure that we have financial tools in place to help some of this. And as I showed you at the beginning, this is actually the Hobo site looking northeast. So kind of, it's kind of pretty broad. It's going to be big vision, not to say this is going to happen, but the idea, if you were going to rethink our gateway to the north into our city, to think of more different uses, office buildings. One of the things they talk about is attracting more healthcare to the Highway 100 corridor. They're seeing a market demand based on the analysis that they did, as well as they're seeing that the market could support more national food, not small town restaurants or things like that, but more national food, because they can compete with one another, versus a small business, small owner would have trouble competing in that market with so much national franchises. So, but more entertainment-based national franchises with food. So, but you might see it in the market, or the axe throwers, the type of locations, and whether it's shuffleboard or something like that, something that has some sort of entertainment aspect to it. National Avenue. This is 7030 West National. We have an interest of a dentist looking at the site. You can see here, we've done some analysis on how that might lay out, showing parking on the site. He's looking to build between 4,000 to 6,000 square feet with apartments on the second or third floors. And it's fully, we looked at the parking lots located behind it on the site, and then it could be supported on the site there too. We are reviewing numbers, and we're working with Milwaukee County to address the tax issues on the property and to help this individual invest in the site.
Oh, adjournment.
Mr. Clark?
Yes, back to Highway 100 corridor. Is Sam's Club on or off the tax roll?
It currently has an occupancy as a nonprofit. They've applied for tax exemption. That's in the application process.
And who handles that?
The city assessor.
And have we made progress in trying to capture some taxable property, try to get some things back on the tax roll, as opposed to seeing things disappear?
We continue to do as much as we can to promote taxable development. That's about all we can say at this time.
But you'll share more later,
Potentially.
3 to 6 months.
Okay. One item before we adjourned, I know Mr. Clark brought this up maybe 3 months ago, and this is the beginning of the new year. So I was wondering, he had requested that we have like a ongoing idea of how much money is being spent for all of the, for planning and different items that we allow $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 weekly. Remember that, Mr. Clark?
We can get that.
We were going to
We'll
do that on...
I'll also give you the status report of all our TIFs at the next meeting.
Okay.
All our costs that we've spent to date, which ones have been closed out, how much taxes we expect to get in the future.
Thank you. Any other business come before this committee? If not, can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second. Favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting stands adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.